Now, for the overhead budget. So, as mentioned in the problem, overhead each month is estimated using a flexible budget formula. And then the activity is measured in direct labor hours. Okay? So, what I will do here is I will summarize first, or I will copy whatever is written in the book or whatever is given in the book. Okay? So, we have supplies. So, fixed cost. Tapos, this one is the variable cost component. So, as we know, overhead is more of a mixed cost. Of course, some of the overhead costs is considered as fixed, and then the others are considered as variable cost. So, we have supplies, power, maintenance, supervision, depreciation, taxes, and other. Okay? So let me just correct this supervision. Okay? So for maintenance, we have 12,500 fixed cost, 14,000 for supervision, 45,000 for depreciation. Taxes, we have 43, and then for the others, we have 86,000. And then for the variable cost component, we have 1.2, 1.1, 0, 0, 0, and then this one is 1.6. Okay? So, how do we prepare a flexible budget? So, what are we going to do here first? No? The first thing we're going to do is to compute for the total. Okay? Total fixed cost. So, the total fixed cost component of the factory overhead costs, and as well as the total variable cost component of the overhead cost. Now, after doing this, this is our cost formula. Remember the equation y is equals to a plus bx. So basically, our formula here will be y is equal to a, which is the total fixed cost, 161,800, plus b, which is 4x, the x being the direct labor hours, because that is the activity driver for the overhead cost. Okay, so to compute for our overhead budget for each month, we are going to use this formula. Okay, so of course we have the fixed component, the fixed overhead. So we all know this from cost accounting. The behavior of the fixed cost is that it is constant in total, and of course it varies per unit. Okay, so the total fixed cost is constant within the relevant range, and then of course the variable cost varies in total directly with the changes in the level of activity. So since based on our analysis earlier, our fixed cost is the total fixed cost or fixed overhead is 161,000. So we just have to, no need to compute for anything. So we simply copy, of course. Now, as far as the variable overhead is concerned, we have to compute. Okay? Since the activity driver for the variable overhead is the direct labor hours, we have to refer to our direct labor budget. Okay? So for the direct labor hours, we have the total direct labor hours for the month of January at 16,800, February, March, and April at 16,500, 20,400, and 24,700 respectively. So what are we going to do next? Of course, we have to multiply this by the variable overhead rate per hour. Okay? So for the variable overhead rate per hour, as per our cost formula here, we have 4. Okay? So multiply everything by 4. Okay? So we have a total of 16,800 times 4. We have 67,200 for January, 66,000 for February, 81,600 for March, and 99,000 for April. Now, if you want to compute for the total overhead for each month, we're going to add our, of course, fixed overhead and the variable overhead, total variable overhead. So we have 229,000 for January, 227,800 for February, 243,400 for March, and 260,800 for April. So that is our total overhead. Okay? So this is the flexible budget. Do not be intimidated because the flexible budget is simply based on the cost formula. So in budgeting, what they usually do is they give us the cost or the cost formula or the total cost, and then we have to prepare the cost formula. But basically, this is how the flexible budget looks like. Okay? So again, you just have to compute for the total fixed cost and then the total variable cost, and then plot it as y is equal to a plus bx, and then compute for the total overhead using the formula. Okay? Next, so letter E, we have the monthly selling and administrative expense. So we are now in the selling and administrative expense budget. Okay? So for the selling and administrative expense, it is also estimated using a flexible budgeting formula. But this time, we are going to prepare a flexible budget again, but this time, the activity is measured in units sold, not the direct labor hours anymore, which is only logical because, of course, the selling and administrative expense will greatly depend on how many units we are going to sell for the period. Okay? So if that is the case, just like what I did earlier, I will just copy. Oops. I will just copy what is given in the book. Okay? So for the fixed cost and the variable cost. Okay? So for our selling and administrative expense, we have number 1, salaries, commissions, sorry, depreciation, shipping, and others. Okay? So for salaries, we have 85,500 purely fixed cost. We give commissions of 1.4 for each unit sold. We have a fixed depreciation expense of 25,000, shipping of 3.6, and other expenses. So we have both fixed and variable, 137 and 1.6. Okay? So the total of which is for the fixed cost, fixed selling and administrative expense, we have a total of okay, we have a total of 247,500, and for our variable cost, we have 6.6. Okay? So next, since this time the selling and administrative expense budget will, the activity driver for the selling and administrative expense will be the units sold, of course. We are going to use the number of units, diba, from our sales budget. Okay, so the projected sales in units, we'll be using this again. Okay? So let us copy. Let's put it here first. Okay. So first we have our we have to consider the fixed portion. Okay, so we have the fixed selling and administrative expense. Sorry, selling and administrative. Correct. So fixed selling and administrative expense. So earlier again, as mentioned, the fixed expenses are constant in total and varies per unit. So, depending on the number of units we have sold this time. Okay? So, we have the same fixed selling and administrative expense for each month. Okay? Now, for the variable selling and administrative expense, we will be computing for this using our projected sales in units. So again, I have copied it from the sales budget we have prepared earlier. So we have the variable overhead, no, variable rate na lang. We will use the variable rate. Okay? So the variable rate is equal to 6.6. Okay? So we have, so 6.6. So we have total 10,000 times 6.6, we have 66,000 for January, 69,300 for February, 85,800 for March, and 105,600 for April. So to compute for our total selling and administrative expense, we have to add the fixed selling and administrative expense plus the variable selling and administrative expense. So we have a total of 313,500 for January, 316,800 for February. For March, we have 333,300 and 353,100 for April. Okay? So there.